All right, the Lakers.
Good luck.
You presented on NBA Today. You were on today with me, and you presented a case for how this roster would work. And I'm going to speak for you here. I don't think you're advocating for this case, but you're reporting the way the Lakers see it. Can you?
Or spin it.
I still wonder if this is going to be what the Lakers roster looks like in 48 hours, 480 hours, 4 weeks. But please tell me how you think the Lakers.
So you got LeBron and Anthony Davis as your guaranteed starters, and you hope for health after both of them really not playing the requisite amount of games to have them look like a contender the last 2 seasons coming off the bubble championship.
What positions are they playing?
Most of the time, you have LeBron at the 3, but he can play some point. Most of the time, you have Anthony Davis at the 4, but a significant amount of time would also have him at the 5, including at the end of games, because that's where you get that true advantage in terms of you pull the other center off and you can do all sorts of stuff defensively. He can guard the perimeter. Now, your starting center is going to be either Thomas Bryant or Damian Jones, most likely, for opening night. We don't know about Russell Westbrook.
Let's just, for the sake of this podcast, let's assume that he is on the roster.
Well, okay, even so, we still don't know about. Right. We don't know if he's coming off the bench or not. Darvin Ham told our Mark Spears that he's going to start. That may be his intention, but I'm not so sure how long that will last if that does occur.
Okay.
You have Patrick Beverley, who was brought in, who has a history of cantankerous interactions with Russell Westbrook, and he's also.
I will say this about Beverley. Beverley does make the best of his situation.
Beverley helps teams win.
Yeah, he makes the best of his situation. He sometimes says things that are absolutely ridiculous, and I have told him such on national television. But I will say this about Bev. Regardless of what you think about him, his track record is that he does help his teams, and so
he's a hell of a role player.
They want him to help their team, not as a point guard necessarily, because they want to have his wing defense be a primary thing he brings to the table, along with shooting, because they did not address shooting whatsoever, which you said quite adroitly on NBA Today on Tuesday.
It's a Syracuse.
I'm telling you, this is like a vocabulary lesson here.
And so you don't have him as a point guard. Last year you signed Kendrick Nunn. He was, out of all their terrible offseason signings last year, he was the worst one because he played 0 games.
That's right.
As he's trying to get back into shape, trying to get his confidence back.
Of these guards that you're talking about, he's their historically the best shooter of all of them, but he's not.
There you go. But
guess
what? They brought him in originally thinking this guy can play combo, play some point, play shooting guard. Right now, I'm told that what he has to do is get his confidence back, and they want him to do that through scoring the basketball. Don't worry about the point guard duties.
Okay.
Get your mojo back.
So what you're painting a picture of is that Westbrook at point, Beverley coming off the bench, playing both backup point and wing defender, and Kendrick Nunn as starting two?
No, I still think Kendrick Nunn will be coming off the bench. You have Austin Reeves potentially as the starting two. And we haven't mentioned Dennis Schroeder, who is also going to be in the equation, as they view him as their backup point to start the year coming in, but recognize that he could win the job in training camp.
Okay. So I've said this before. I like the Schroeder signing in and of itself. They get him for the minimum. This is a guy they like. They traded for him, then they tried to extend him. Now they get him back for the minimum. He is a guy who has won them games. He's also been a guy that's disappeared. But when you're playing on a minimum salary, if you disappear, okay, you're a minimum player. You don't have an $80 million.
It's not like you're
contract.
making $47 million.
So I like the signing. What I don't understand is how it fits in. Schroeder is a poor outside shooter. He shot in the neighborhood of like 31% last year. Austin Reeves, who I think the whole Laker fan base likes, great find. Another
heady player.
Another very good find by the Lakers scouting staff and Rob Pelinka. He shot 32% as a rookie from 3. Patrick Beverley, I know that there are years in his career where he has shot well from 3, but last year was not one of them. And the year before he was not. He's gone down 3 years in a row, and last year was his worst year. Now, again, maybe playing with LeBron and AD, playing out there, maybe he will rise back up. But I'm just here to tell you.
Lonnie Walker, their mid-level exception guy they brought in, he had his worst year as a 3-point shooter last year also.
2%, I think.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like, this is not how you win in the modern NBA, and it's not how you win with LeBron James. You just don't. I mean, MacMahon, you were over there in Germany watching these games. Germany was great. They made it to the Final Four of the Eurobasket. Dennis Schroeder was on the all-tournament team.
Yeah.
And the teams were backing off of him because they were like,
no, there was a game when they lost against, I think it was Slovenia. He said in the post-game press conference, I got to hit a bleeping shot.
Yeah.
And and what you have on this team is not only it's a lack of shooting, but how many guys are you going to put on a roster with LeBron James that need the ball in their hands or they're minuses?
They're small.
It's Russ, it's Schroeder. I mean, there's nobody who can play off of LeBron.
That's the thing. And Juan Toscano-Anderson is, he can defend, but he's not a shooter. He's not a shooter. So, I do think that they got more athletic on defense, which was an absolute
Troy
must.
Brown Jr., affordable pickup, some upside.
He's a minimum player. I mean,
right.
Wes Matthews, a guy that the Lakers let go, signs for a minimum with Milwaukee last year and is great.
Yeah.
Sometimes minimums work out. Sometimes, most of the time, minimums are the minimum.
And guess what happens if these things don't work out? They don't mesh. They don't congeal. LeBron takes it upon himself to figure it out. In doing so, he can still do spectacular things. I don't think LeBron James will fall too far off the production he had last year. Maybe not 30 points per game, but still be a very effective NBA player. But in doing so, he will put his body more at risk because he will taking on a bigger role. And guess what happens? If he gets hurt again, it's kaput. It's, you can start looking ahead to 23, 24 already.
Yeah, and LeBron for so long, for a generation plus, was just incredibly durable. But it's impossible to be that durable this long into a career, having played the most minutes in NBA history. It's just not humanly possible.
I just think that even if it all works, even if Beverly does prove to be adept at wing defender, even with because there are stats that show that Russell Westbrook shot 40% in corner threes. I know he didn't take that many.
I think it was 2 of 5.
Was it? I mean, it was a little more than that.
It's a little more than that.
But I was like, wait a minute, is it really that long? Maybe he does. Maybe he does run into the corner and shoot threes. I mean,
40% go in, 40% hit the side of the backboard.
What's the top end? What's the top end? Is the top end 9th place?
I think top end. If this thing goes totally right, I bet you could hope for, you're the 6th seed.
Yeah, if LeBron and AD are healthy and play at the level that we've seen them before, I think it's a playoff team. I don't think it's a team that advances in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, AD has posted his workouts, so it must be going great. But, AD has appeared to have been focused. They've had a long offseason, longest offseason in years to rest. So we'll see. And, Darvin Ham, he has been prepared for this moment. A lot of people like him a lot. I respect his mind. We'll see. I just look at this roster, and I just can't believe that this is the way they honestly want to play. I suspect by February it may look very different, maybe even by December.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.